This is the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. Kick back and hang with your hosts, Kayode, Lewis, and Joel. Let's mark out.
Yes, y'all. This isn't a dream. It's all three of us at the same time, same channel. Welcome to On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, y'all. I am your boy Kayode. We have taken a little hiatus. I'm back from the islands. Yeah, man. I'm still in vacation mode, sipping a little rum punch. But no, I'm here. We here for the people. Welcome to On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, episode 91. I'm joined by none other than Lewis, the administrator. Don't forget that part. And Joel. Fellas, what is up? What's going on, fellas?
It feels so good to be back. Yeah, man, we missed you dearly, Joel and I, Kayode. You know, you were out there sipping on rum and doing the Caribbean things.
I was.
Yeah, we were just trying to keep up with all of the non-events that have been happening in wrestling. No, but in all seriousness, it's been kind of a weird time since WrestleMania because, you know, Backlash occurred, and it's sort of like WWE is spinning its wheels in a sense. Like, yeah,
Right.
there's some movement forward, but there's nothing that's like extraordinary minus like maybe one or two things. AEW is doing what they're doing. We'll talk about that a little bit with them building up towards Double or Nothing. And we had the death of the legendary Sabu, which comes, 3 weeks, a month after his retirement match, that Barbed Wire Massacre. So, yeah, some things to get into.
Yes, y'all. We'll get into some of all of that. Before we begin, though, I just want to go back to the last show. We were talking after the show about Mount Rushmore's top tens and all that stuff, guys. And just to give you a quick look, I'm not even going to mention my top 10, but I did do my top 10. It's a tentative list. And I will admit, after much thinking, after much research, The Rock has made the top 10. The Rock has made the top 10. Yes, he has made the top 10. Not because I wanted him off my top 10. I was really thinking about, who made an impact in my childhood? Mm-hmm. And The Rock was everywhere. So I can't say The Rock. I cannot not put The Rock as my top 10. I just had to put that out there. The Rock is on the top 10. Yes, he is on there. Yeah. Rightfully so.
It makes sense.
So.
It
makes sense, right?
Yeah, you were a little egregious.
I was a little egregious. Yeah, I was a little egregious. But when you hear the rest of the list, you might think I'm a little crazy. So
yeah.
But let's get right to it, y'all. Lewis, we got an administrator's report, and AEW is looking up right now. What we got, Lewis?
Well, it is time once again for the administrator's report.
Yes, sir.
So Tony Khan went on X and touted the increased viewership for Dynamite, and it's not just an increase, it's actually the most watched Dynamite of the year. Now, yes, I know all the haters are going to be like, well, we did 682,000 viewers this week.
That's good.
I mean, I think we can say that that's pretty much, they've been hovering for quite some time now over like around the 500,000-600,000 range. But I'm kind of surprised that it's the highest viewed Dynamite of the year with only 682,000. But I'm also taking into consideration that this is also the first calendar year where we've had Max, or it's going back to HBO Max. Fucking stupid.
Come on,
Anyway,
man. Make up your mind,
They should have
man.
even changed the name in the first place. But anyway, I
Never.
digress. This is the first time where you're, as a viewer, having the option of watching it on traditional cable television and then streaming it on a mobile device or computer or whatever the case may be. So when you think of 682,000 viewers, I mean, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
All things considered, I think that's pretty good. And that can only mean nothing but good things for AEW as they head into Double or Nothing next weekend, Memorial Day weekend.
Wow, that's next
And
weekend.
then you got All In, your biggest event of the year. So this is a bright spot essentially for the company in terms of exposure and things like that. And what I really appreciated about this week's Dynamite, yes, it was a solid episode all around, but what I really appreciated was just how entertaining it was from top to bottom, even outside of the in-ring action. The segments were good. The vignettes were well produced. The thumb. Shout out to Bobby Lashley with the fidgeting thumb.
They got the thumb over though. They got T-shirts and everything.
I love it.
Yeah, I know, man. We heard people is really really over, but I think in terms of entertainment, it was a very solid 2 hours of wrestling that didn't have a whole lot of fluff. It gave you the in-ring action. It was a good hook for the pay-per-view Double or Nothing. You know, they announced Anarchy in the Arena. Just overall solid, solid. Like I can't really complain or criticize too much because it was a solid night of wrestling. So shout out to AEW and what they put on on Dynamite this week. And the crowd was very enthusiastic. I've been loving this year, and I think we could all concur as a cohesive unit, so to speak, that AEW's smaller venues create just a better TV product. I think we can all, agree to that. But that's one of the things that helped Dynamite this week, and it's been helping Dynamite and Collision over the past couple of months. So there you have it, highest viewed Dynamite of the year.
Yo, let's give it up for AEW, because like Lewis said, AEW for the last couple of weeks have been putting out some great content. The Hurt Business segments are gold, and the story is pretty solid. Like I'm with it. I'm very curious how MJF fits into this whole thing. I don't want to see a turn quick. I want this to kind of be a faction, like a real one, right? And let them ride out and beat the hell out of people and win titles and just be dope. But we'll see where it goes. I hope they kind of let it ride a little bit. But like you guys, like Lewis said, AEW's been producing solid content, man. And yes, 680,000 sounds low in comparison to like a WWE, of course. But for them, for 2025, that's high. And it shows that the change in venues, the more paying attention to some storylines, and actually producing decent shows and PLE or pay-per-views is leading to some people coming in and be like, what's this all about? Or maybe return customers are coming back. So big up to AEW, man. I see big things. I feel all the pay-per-views are pretty solid for the most part. I think Double or Nothing will be very good, and I think they're going to kill this all in. I am very curious on what they're going to give us all in good old Texas. I think we're going to get something crazy. And this past yesterday, they announced an Anarchy in the Arena match, which at Double or Nothing, that card's already getting stacked. That is just another great addition. Joel, what you think about AEW, the admin report? Where you at with it?
For sure, man. Like while we're on this discussion too, I think we got to show not some official love. I'm not gonna no gimmick infringement here, but we do got to show some love to Jon Moxley, honestly, because I think a lot of people originally, and I think us included, we were all like, we don't know what the story is going. But now we're seeing the crowd is so ready for whoever is gonna beat this person. And it's starting to I'm starting to realize like this is kind of the whole point of wrestling, right? Like, yeah, we're supposed to hate the heel, we're supposed to hate the bad guy, and we don't like that Jon Moxley is hiding this belt from all of us. So I think like once that crowd gets that satisfaction, like they were so ready to see Samoa Joe become champion yesterday, when it doesn't even make storyline sense at all for Samoa Joe to just win the title out of nowhere, but everybody was so ready for it. And the crowd was ready to pop and explode. So imagine when whoever it is finally gets this belt off of this man who's been holding it hostage from us for all this time. It's going to be incredible. So showing some love to Jon Moxley, because I know a lot of people are a little down on the Death Rider storyline, but we can't deny that there is satisfaction that's going to be so like, it's going to make whoever wins that championship a made man automatically, just because they're getting back that belt that we're missing. We haven't seen the world title in months. It makes so much sense. Like at first, when they first did it and they did the story, we were like, what is this? This is a little weird. But now you think back at it, it's like, yeah, you're taking away the prized possession of the whole company. So yeah, whoever wins that belt is a made man. It's going to be incredible. So shout out to AEW. I think that's also helping these ratings, because like that cage match was announced. People are like, hey, this might be the person who beats Jon Moxley. There's money in wanting to see someone lose, and I think that's what a lot of wrestling fans don't understand. So they'll start shitting on the storyline right away. But what you don't realize, like Floyd Mayweather made all his money because people wanted to see him lose. He became the richest boxer of all time because people wanted to see him lose. So like there is money in this. So shout out to AEW for sticking to something, even though they were going through like a lot of rough patches with fans shitting on the story and all that. But now we're ready. We're ready to see the next crowned champ. And I think that's what's getting people to watch the show every week now. It's like, okay, sooner than later, we're going to see who's going to be the one to crown themselves as the new AEW world champ.
Yeah, man. And listen, AEW is proving this wrong, like you just said, Joe. We were all like waiting for that one person just to, come on, man, just take this belt. Moxley, just go away for a little bit. But it's working, because you're right. Whoever wins that title is a made man. And I wonder who we going to get doing that. It's got to be somebody like an Ospreay, right? It's got to be someone like Ospreay, in my opinion.
I'm hoping.
You know, that should be the man going forward. And I'm talking like a lengthy run. Like Ospreay should be the poster child of babyface for AEW. T-shirts, kissing babies, all that stuff. Like he needs to be the guy. So we'll see. All In, I mean, we're going to get the shape of All In after Double or Nothing. So we shall see, man. We shall see. But good admin's report, Lewis. Good admin report.
I wanted to
some good numbers.
Kind of give a sort of a segue shout out, right? Because we mentioned Will Ospreay. I do think that Will Ospreay is the I think that's the person who's going to ultimately go over at All In. It's still kind of early, but now I'm thinking about it, All In is literally 8 weeks away. It's only
Crazy.
2 months away. So once Double or Nothing happens, they're going to be full steam ahead into starting the pieces for building that card. And I think it's going to be one of two people. It's either going to be Swerve in that main event spot, or it'll be Will Ospreay. But Ospreay makes the most sense because Ospreay hasn't had a gigantic moment like that, like the way Swerve has.
Yo, you mean Hangman, not Swerve, because of the tournament.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. But in any case, I mean, look, that just goes to show you the loaded talent that we have on AEW. But I think that there's a lot to be said for Will Ospreay's talent and how they've really been taking their time with him. If you notice, they've given him the international title. They gave him a little run with that, but they haven't forced Will Ospreay down our throats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they haven't put him into a program and said, "Hey, you're the world champion," and this is how. Because I think they needed to really have him around for a year and some change, because he only debuted, it's hard to believe, but he only debuted as a full-time member of the AEW roster in what was it, last February or last March?
Yeah,
something
around
like
that. Yeah.
So, with all that said, there's a very funny clip that I want to play from 404 Heels podcast. I want to give
Okay.
a shout out to these fellas because I'm entertained by everything that these guys put on their Instagram page and their TikToks and whatnot. And I want to play this clip because they were commenting on something that Will Ospreay had said, and he ruffled he ruffled some feathers in
Okay.
the other company, if you will. But this is what the gentleman on 404 Heels podcast were saying.
All right, let's hear it.
Having a little bit of technical difficulty.
It's all right. There we
WWE
go.
fans cry all day, all night. We're both fans here. But it ain't making me cry. This man says he's not a fan of WWE, and he would out wrestle on his bad day everyone in WWE. What are your thoughts, bro?
And that's the motherfucking truth, bro. That's the motherfucking truth, bro. Listen, he also said, yeah, they got the biggest house.
Yeah,
they're the bigger company. Yeah, they do the bigger gate. He said, but when that bell rings,
ding, 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 ding.
he said they ain't got nothing on us.
Yeah.
They talking about AEW, and he's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Again, I got no problem agreeing with motherfuckers when they saying some real shit, and he's saying some real shit. Not because it's Ospreay. It could have been goddamn Ricochet saying that shit. I'm like, he's fucking right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When that bell rings, in all types of ways, the not the performers. Now let's get this straight. Not the performers themselves, but because they're in the E and they're relegated to wrestling that style of match in the E, they cannot hold a candle to fucking AEW's wrestlers, bro. Now, talk about let's say that when some of them come over to AEW, we can really see what they can really do.
Yeah.
Right? I guarantee you, there's some people in that motherfucker who can hang.
Yeah.
But Will Ospreay.
Well, I mean, you heard it. Shout out to 404 Heels.
Shout out to
podcast.
404. Yeah.
Those
fellas ain't telling lies. There's no lies.
That's what I'm saying. They're not lying.
There's no lies.
So what do you make of that, Kayode? What do you make of their commentary and what Will Ospreay said? Because
I'm going to tell you right now.
I don't think Will Ospreay is lying. I mean, here's the thing. Will Ospreay doesn't. He has every right to be confident because every year in his professional career, just about, right? He's had at least 3 to 5 match of the year candidates by all metrics, whether he was wrestling in the UK or Japan or North America. Like you mentioned Will Ospreay, his name comes up in match of the year candidates every year for the past 5 to 7, maybe even 8 years. So
listen, man, shout out to 404. Y'all ain't telling lies. I think we've all believed that and actually mentioned that on the podcast at some point that AEW as a whole, first off, WWE doesn't touch AEW in the wrestling category. In the in-ring action, WWE comes, it's night and day. It's no comparison. Now, when you take Will Ospreay and say that same thing, Will Ospreay is 100% right. He is the best wrestler. No one touches him in WWE. No one could keep up with him in WWE, in my opinion, that they probably have. He's right. They may do the biggest gate. They may do the biggest numbers on their PLEs. They may sell merch. They may got the biggest advertisers. But when it comes to the quality of wrestling, action, entertainment that you're getting, AEW by far is leaps and bounds better than AEW. I mean WWE. Better. They just are. I'm sorry. They just are. I'm sorry. WWE has moments where some of the matches might hit here and there, but we're not sitting through the whole match like, yo, this was. I don't remember the last time any three of us was sat back and said, yo, that right there was a banger. I don't remember. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't remember the last time. So shout out to 404. Big up to your boy Will Ospreay with the confidence to say that.
Word.
And he ruffled all the marks on the WWE side who got paychecks by them. It's okay. You getting paid? It's all right. You gotta stand by your brand.
Yeah.
But over here, we ain't got no allegiance. We talk wrestling. If your wrestling's good, we're gonna shout you out. If it's bad, we're gonna shit all over it. All over it. So shout out to 404. What you think, Joe?
I mean, yeah. I mean, is this even a question? Like,
Exactly.
which is kind of cool because yeah, Ospreay did say that, and I like shout out to him for the confidence. But like, he's right. Like, you can't even be mad at him for saying something that's like factually true. Like, and maybe you could argue the fact that WWE is a different style, so like no one's trying to wrestle like a Will Ospreay, I guess. But let's take who's the best wrestler in WWE. Seth Rollins, maybe Gunther. Let's take any of those guys and put them next to Will Ospreay, and they don't match up. Even like Seth Rollins, maybe a couple years ago, but now he's towards the later years of his career. Gunther wrestles a completely different style. Is more like methodical, slow. So yeah, no one's touching Will Ospreay. I mean, even if you think about like who's the next best wrestler in AEW, they probably still like Kenny Omega, Konosuke Takeshita. Like these guys are all better.
Exactly.
Like Josh Alexander is probably a better wrestler than anybody in WWE. Like if you really boil it down to like in-ring action, and people are gonna argue like that's not wrestling or this is wrestling. WWE slow pace, like the talking heads that get paid by WWE or whatever.
Yeah,
they'll say that. But like if you want to talk about in the ring, I want to see some dope ass action, and I like take away all the context, the story, all that. If I just want to put a match in front of me, I'm choosing an AEW match 10 times out of 10. Yeah, I will give a shout out to the women in WWE. I feel like the women in WWE are probably way better than AEW when you compare all the women.
Yes.
And actually, when you said when's the last time we all thought of a banger, I think that women's triple threat at WrestleMania was probably like the last WWE banger that we could really like say.
Now, would you compare you saying that's a banger to an AEW banger? Is it the same level of bangers, or is it different bangers? Like, what do we say? Like, is it the same level of an AEW banger?
Yeah, I mean,
no, it's not.
It's not.
Yeah,
it's not. It's not.
It's a different style.
Yeah, it's a different
style banger.
Yeah,
for a WWE, that's a banger. But in wrestling, you could go down the list of a bunch of the AEW matches that you could say was a banger in wrestling. Lewis has said multiple times that's probably That's probably best match of the year. I've heard him say that about a lot of matches AEW had.
Yeah.
So it's just two different types of styles. Like where AEW they focus on their wrestling while WWE focuses on the advertisers they can get from the wrestling you're seeing. Yeah. Right? What is sellable? What is, what's going to capture the kids' minds so they can buy the merch? That's kind of what they're thinking about. And they cater their wrestling style to those factors. And that's why, guys like us in 404, we're like, it's all right. This is not hot though. It's just not. It's not it. So
I forgot who said it, but I saw someone say something like WWE is a show about wrestling, while AEW is a wrestling show. And I think that's what really like what it boils down to. Because most things in WWE, even when you watch a Raw, you're gonna get maybe 4 matches or something like that. But most of it's gonna be backstage segments, in-ring promos, all that stuff. So like, it's just two different things where it's not even worth comparing at this point. When you talk about the in-ring action, it's not even worth comparing.
Yeah.
Ospreay got it right.
Ospreay got it right. Ospreay got it right.
And I think as a paying consumer, you also have to consider that perspective too. If I'm a paying consumer and I want to go to a live show, I want to be in attendance, what am I going to get the most bang for my buck? Like, where am I going to get the most bang for my buck in? At a WWE Raw or an AEW Collision? At a WWE SmackDown or an AEW Dynamite? At a WWE PLE or an AEW pay-per-view? It really depends on your preference at that point. Do you want to pay your money to be in attendance for all of the bells and whistles, the production, the pyro, the theatrical experience? Or do you want to see a little bit of that, but more in-ring wrestling, like pro wrestling action. So that's a different topic for that's actually part of a larger conversation because that's the times that we're living in, right? Like we have so much variety now because AEW is vastly different from WWE,
Right.
and everyone has their preference. But I think in our age group, we're mid 30s, late 30s, early 40s, whatever. Our age group is probably most likely gravitating towards AEW because we feel like it it sort of caters to what we're looking for because
Oh,
we've
yeah.
already seen all of the different eras of WWE when it was at its peak. You know what I'm saying? Like what else is there that WWE can present to us that we haven't already seen? Whereas AEW, they're only in year 6.
Right.
Then there's still much more that they can offer in terms of in ring action, storylines, and just different stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Listen, man, we will. I hope this conversation sparks up some really interesting talks amongst all the other podcasts. Like, can you honestly say that AEW isn't better wrestling than W? Can you say that and be unbiased about it? Like, can they actually admit it? But we'll see. We'll see what happens because I know we're gonna get some marks on this. Somebody commenting in TikTok. Oh, y'all are haters. Oh, y'all don't know what y'all talking about. We're gonna get somebody like that. So I'm just curious from the reactions from these clips, who's gonna come out and be like, "Yo, y'all are right. You in 404, y'all are lockstep. Y'all are right." So we'll see. We'll see. Joel, do you have a haters club or no, man? You still showing love to people?
I got like a semi hater club. I won't go.
Semi-hater
I
club.
won't go in the full hater club.
So you won't go full hater.
But
This
we
is
could.
this
but we-
this sounds this sounds like the dislike club.
yeah.
This isn't.
But we could run the graphic anyway.
Yeah, let's run the graphic.
let's do
Joel, what you got for the semi haters club?
The dislike
got?
club. I like that. This one is going to Pat McAfee, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
So I don't mind Pat McAfee. I feel like
Right.
he's okay. He does a good job of bringing eyes to the product or whatever it is that he's there for. But for him to have a match with Gunther at Backlash and then show up on Monday like nothing, get a hero's welcome. He came into his own entrance music on Monday. Like he got a freaking standing ovation. Why is this man not in crutches?
Yeah.
Why is this not man ribs taped up? What happened to my precious kayfabe, man? What happened to my precious kayfabe? An announcer, a commentator, going against your former world champion. He literally just lost the world title at WrestleMania. You put him up against a commentator for his next feud. And then you have him go basically 50-50 during the match. Like Pat got hell of offense during that match. And then the next day he just shows up like nothing. After the match, he stands up and Gunther gives him a little like a respect. Like what happened here? I don't understand it. I don't understand what the point of it. I think it was a very like weird rushed feud that made no sense. No one comes out of it stronger. Like Gunther doesn't look stronger for having to go 50-50 against Pat McAfee. I guess Pat McAfee looks stronger because he stood up, but what does that mean? Is he gonna keep fighting? Is he a full-time wrestler now? It doesn't look like it. He's back into commentator the next day. I don't understand it. It felt like it was a weird viral moment thing that WWE keeps pushing for. Let's get Pat McAfee to have a match at Backlash. Maybe the card wasn't strong enough in their eyes or something, but like, what's up with that? Like, I don't know. What do you guys think? Am I thinking too hard about this? Is it okay to have your former world champion go toe to toe with a commentator and the commentator just show up on Monday like nothing?
Lewis, you take this. You take it.
Yeah, I'm giving the finger, no, the wave, like no, it is not okay. Shout out to Streamin' Joe because that's a very, very good take, and that's a very unique haters club because Pat McAfee, we don't really spend a lot of time on this podcast talking about him because, well, he's not a wrestler. But apparently he can go toe to toe with, like Joel said, a former world champion and come out relatively unscathed on Raw. I don't like when WWE does that. I don't like it when I see it in pro wrestling where someone who is not a trained let me take a step back because yes, they've gone through the formal training, I guess, but someone who is not an active wrestler, and is putting in the work and working matches on the road and doing it week in and week out. When they put someone in the ring like that against an active competitor who's supposed to be like a destroyer or a monster, or even if they weren't a monster, just someone who in kayfabe and in storyline is like top tier, and they're actually giving that top tier talent a run for their money in the match. I've never been a fan of that. I've never been a fan of it. Sometimes it works well. Like I can make an exception for Bad Bunny to a certain
Right.
degree. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it works well. It's effective. But
Yeah.
for the most part, I can't stand when they do shit like that.
But
As a matter of
that's
fact, let me go back to Bad Bunny for a second.
yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I love Bad Bunny, but the thing is, I think it was Royal Rumble 2022 or 23. Matter of fact, the one that Brock Lesnar won a couple of years ago.
hmm
Yes.
Bad Bunny's here. He made it into the top 5, top 4. I mean, the last 4,
That's crazy.
the final 4, final 5 of the Royal Rumble. He's eliminating top talent. Like, how does that make sense? It does not make sense. So to your point, Joel, Pat McAfee, you really so if he can go toe to toe with Gunther, he lost the match. But if he can go toe to toe with him, then I guess you can just put anybody in the ring with any WWE talent and expect the fans to believe that they have a chance to win the match and become the victor.
Yeah.
Again, in
That-
kayfabe, because
Yeah.
if we're trying to, pro wrestling is all about suspension of disbelief. That suspension of disbelief goes completely out the window when, like you said, Joel, you got a guy like Pat McAfee, bruised chest, ribs, and all. He comes out like nothing on Raw 2 days later. Like he shouldn't have even been on television,
Exactly.
if you think about it, to sell the injury.
Exactly, and that's another reason. I thought the whole point of this match was to maybe write off Pat McAfee because maybe like some football stuff was coming up and he wasn't going to be able to be on,
Right.
on Raw for a while. So that was like, okay, maybe that's the whole point of this. But then at the end of the match, I see him standing up on his own. He's not walking. You know, I expected like a stretcher. I expected him to get killed. I expected Gunther to kill this guy. I expected him to play with his food. Maybe even get some blood, it's rare in WWE, but he did make Jimmy Uso bleed. So I'm like, hey, anything's on the table. So, maybe get some blood on Pat McAfee, whatever it is. I thought it was going to be, this is how we make Gunther, build him back after he just lost his title. Let's show him as an incredible monster, scare the shit out of the live audience. Like, Pat McAfee is beloved. A lot of people love him. So why not use your dastardly heel to destroy the announcer that everybody loves to dance with? He gets on the table, he does the yeet. It makes so much sense for Gunther to just kill this guy.
Mm-hmm.
But instead they end up having a really relatively back and forth match, and then at the end of the match, Gunther literally gives him a little like curtsy.
Which I hate, by the way.
Yeah, I hated that too.
Gunther is your most dangerous heel on the entire roster. And you have him giving a big ups to Pat McAfee.
Yeah, man.
I mean, he wrestled Jey Uso, who is a fellow wrestler, who is also a guy that could give some offense against Gunther. And there was no, hey, that was pretty good. I mean, that was, I respect you. But you respect Pat McAfee, who's a commentator who has no business walking out to his own music without a bandage, black eye, something of some visual indication that he had a battle with the baddest wrestler, hard-hitting big man in WWE right now. It is insane to me, right? I was listening to other podcasts. Big shout out to Cheap Pete and Peter Rosenberg, who was like, yo, I don't understand how Pat may get some offense, but there is no way Pat should have had some sort of equal footing or come out to the ring the next night or Monday and be like, okay, like no visual anything. Gunther was mowing down people his entire title run. Ex-champions, big guys, high fly. But Pat is the guy who gives him a run for his money, and then he's he's doing all this. Like, come on, man. It was corny. WWE has a problem with really establishing dastardly evil heels. And I don't know if it's just because they're still TVPG and they're still trying to do their whole stay wholesome and not scare the kids away. I don't know if it's any of that stuff, or right now they're just oversaturated with too much that they're not paying any attention to like the smaller things. Like, who's my big heel in this company? Who's the guy that we need to make sure can go against every other face and either make them, break them, or whatnot? Like, who is the guy? I think they just got too much stuff going on, and it's like, yo, they're not paying attention to details here. That's Gunther.
Yeah.
And like you said, it did nothing for either one of them. Like, in any case, it might have made Gunther look like, you're not that tough anymore. Like, you're not that. That means that Jey Uso could get in the ring, who's the champion, could get in the ring with Pat McAfee, and Pat can give him a run for his money. Pat could actually possibly win the world title. That's what we're saying. Like, Pat has a chance to win the world title. It's madness.
At this point, you might as well have Pat McAfee as the winner of the 2026 Royal Rumble. Because, I mean, if he can go toe-to-toe in a competitive match with a former world champion, have him win the Royal Rumble and have him main event night one at WrestleMania next year in New Orleans. Because how is this any different from David Arquette winning the WCW title 25 years ago? How is this any different?
What a joke that was. But it was WCW.
Please, I am waiting, WWE marks. I am waiting for your response. How is this any different from David Arquette in 2000 winning the WCW world title? I don't want to hear that, WCW didn't know what they were doing. They were going down the toilet. That's Vince Russo's booking. No, man. Still, how is that any different from what they're trying to do with these celebrities? How is that any different? Seriously. Yes, Pat McAfee is a former NFL player. I get that. But come on, man.
He's not Steve Mongo McMichael. Like, I mean, even that would have been a little more like believable.
It was. Yeah.
I don't know. Joel, you was gonna say something?
No, yeah, it's just exactly what Lewis is saying. Like, it's almost to the point where it's like, honestly, I feel like WWE is in a position where they think they could do no wrong. Mm-hmm. So they're doing all these things, but like, I feel like little by little, these things add up. So like, you start thinking, like, you bring up the celebrities and like how prominent they are on TV now. Travis Scott having the biggest moment at WrestleMania. And then you got Logan Paul fighting for the world title at Saturday Night Main Event coming up soon. So it's like,
which I'm not mad about.
He's a semi-active wrestler.
I'm not mad about.
So it's not bad, but like, he is part of that same celebrity class of people. So it's like, it almost feels like WWE is like, it doesn't matter as long as we just go viral, right? It doesn't matter for continuation of story, whatever. But I think, like you said, in the long run, they're not thinking ahead. They're not thinking of like how this affects Gunther, his character. He just lost the world title to a wrestler who a lot of people don't believe in when it comes to in-ring as well. So now you have your best wrestler, some might say, in your company. We just had this conversation about Will Ospreay. Gunther might be the best wrestler in WWE. He just lost to Jey Uso, who has 4 moves. Shout out to Jey Uso. I became a fan of him, but he still only has 4, maybe 5 moves. Now that he stole the sleeper hold, he has 5 moves now. But and now you have him go against Pat McAfee, and basically, and shout out to Pat McAfee because he is a very athletic guy. He actually could go in the ring for a non-active wrestler, but if you're gonna tell that story, at the end of that story, it should either be Pat McAfee walking away in a stretcher or whatever, getting carried down in a stretcher, or if you want to keep Pat strong for whatever reason, I don't know why you would need to keep Pat strong, then just have Gunther walk away. Like, we don't need the little respect thing.
Yeah.
Like, it just didn't make sense at all. And then I feel like on Monday, the next day, or 2 days later, when Gunther came out to confront Jey Uso, it kind of like Gunther had like no aura. Like, in my opinion,
Right.
I was like, yo, you lost all your aura. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know
man.
how you lost your aura so fast from WrestleMania to now, but I'm already
Damaged him.
Yeah, I'm already looking at you funny. And maybe, I don't know if that's a story they're trying to tell. Maybe it is. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but I don't think it is. And it just feels like they're not thinking too far ahead. They're just like, whatever. This is a viral moment. Let's get Pat McAfee on there. They weren't even in like Pat McAfee's home state. Like, it was so random.
Right.
It was such a random match to just throw out there.
Yeah. Again, I don't like it either way. Pat being athletic, tall, whatever, it doesn't matter. Gunther was your world champion. He was the baddest heel on the planet in your company. There is no need for Pat to even be close. I'm sorry. Pat can get some offense. I'm not making it. It can't be a squash completely, but don't unless they're turning it, which would be stupid. Don't do. What is that? Like, what are you doing? No. It was just done wrong. I'm sorry. I don't agree with it. It's just not done right. Come on. Talking about WWE like this is making me hate the product a little more. Like, it really is. Like, it's making me like wonder if they care about the wrestling portion of it. Like, are we just getting fed whatever we want because they're untouchable? Like Joel said, like, they're so untouchable. They got so much backing. They got the world in the palm of their hands. They got TV show deals. They got everything. It's almost like you're going to get what we give you, and if you like it, there's some other places you can kind of check out. Like, you don't have to be here because we kind of don't need you here. So it's becoming that, and I'm beginning to get a little. I'm not feeling it. But yeah, guys, the WWE of it all. But I want to get to a special show in love, fellas. A special show in love to the late, great, hardcore icon champ, Sabu. Ladies and gentlemen, we lost Sabu a few days ago. Legendary wrestler. I mean, what can you say? This is a hard hit for the wrestling community. You saw the emotion, the raw emotion that Taz had on Dynamite, just talking about him in that short time. He got emotional. I mean, these two men had major battles. And Sabu wrestled his last match, hardcore match, against Joey Janela in what some people say was a match that should have never happened. Sabu was not physically in a good place, apparently, according to some reports that I read, allegedly. And this probably should have never happened, but it did. And now we have the memories of his greatness to kind of go by. And showing this show and love segment is brought to you for the late great Sabu. Fellas, you got any thoughts about this tragic passing?
Yeah, it's sad. I was definitely shocked because of how quickly it happened after that barbed wire match.
Yeah.
During WrestleMania weekend against Joey Janela. And, immediately I'm like, did that have something to do with that? But in any case, yeah, Sabu if he didn't get enough credit before, he's definitely going to get credit now, especially with the plethora of resources that wrestling fans, old and new, have to go back and revisit a lot of that stuff that he was doing in the 90s and, the ECW days. And even when WWE had brought back ECWs, he had quite a few memorable moments, those clips just bring me back to like the Ruthless Aggression era when WWE first brought ECW back, and they had the one night stand, pay-per-views, and all of that. The DDT on Rey Mysterio through the table, putting John Cena through the announce table. But the stuff that he was doing in ECW was just he was a pioneer.
Oh yeah, man.
Like when you think of any type of chair springboard spot, you think of Sabu.
Yeah.
Like, and he just always did it flawlessly, you know? Yeah, that was one, rest in peace, but that was one crazy son of a bitch, man.
Yeah, man.
Like he was as crazy as they came. All you got to do is just watch any of his matches from peak ECW and you'll just see it. But I remember he had the first barbed wire massacre in TNA history against Abyss, and that was really cool because it was one of the first times that people who missed ECW in real time, they got to see Sabu in a match during that time. He's known for the hardcore stuff, but it's not to say that he wasn't a good worker per se. It's just a different style, right? Like a different style of wrestling. But yeah, rest in peace to the homicidal, suicidal, genocidal Sabu.
Yeah,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Yeah, man, this was a sad one to hear. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like Sabu is like one of those first wrestlers you heard about outside of WWE, like when we were growing up. And I feel like that's like what really got me into like outside of WWE stuff. Like the first time I saw a Sabu like clip of him in like ECW doing some crazy shit, or like I remember getting a tape back in the day when it was actual tapes. I got a tape from like a cousin or something that it was like a FMW, like old school Sabu in Japan doing some crazy shit with light tubes and all types of like death match type shit. And I was like, what the hell is this? I'm so used to like WWF as a kid. And I'm like, what is this? This is a whole nother style of wrestling. So just shout out to Sabu, because I feel like he opened a lot of people's eyes into like whole nother side of death match style wrestling, hardcore wrestling, just like jumping off of crazy heights and just putting your body on the line to entertain people. So like you brought up the chair springboard spots, but I think he, in my opinion, I don't know if anybody else, I think he's the most like synonymous person with actually throwing a steel chair at someone's face. Like every time I see someone do that nowadays, I'm like, oh, that's a Sabu spot, where he would just literally no care in the world, just throw a chair in your face. Like it's just crazy. Like things that you never saw, and you're just like, oh, this motherfucker. Like you legit thought he was crazy. You legit thought he wasn't even like paid to be a wrestler. like it was just like some guy they found off the streets and threw him in a match. Like that's how good of a character he was. And like how you said about Taz, like from all intents and purposes, it sounds like he was such a great guy outside of the rings. Like, so just goes to show like how he was able to put it on every time as soon as those cameras turned on, or for a couple fans in the audience when he's doing indies. Like it wasn't even a big audience or anything, but he still put it on. So like, just shout out to Sabu. He put his body on the line. I'm sure that had a lot to do with him passing away at an early age as well. So just shout out for all the entertainment over all the years. Because
yeah, man, Sabu, that's a big loss to the wrestling community, but great memories, man. I mean, the guy had a hell of a career. I mean, in terms of, two-time ECW world champion. He was tag team champion with RVD, television champ. He did his thing, and in his matches, like Lewis said, it was a different style. It was different, right? You could be for, you could be against it, you could be right in the middle. You land somewhere where you respected the man's work, because he was a pioneer for a lot of that, especially the chair springboard joint. I mean, that's like legendary. Him throwing his whole body into the audiences and shit, like it's just nuts. But big up to Sabu. He's gonna be missed. One of these last times, for Sabu, y'all. 60 years old, passed away. But let's get on. We'll move on because we got to talk about Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is in this heel mode right now, guys, and I'm trying to figure out, where is this going? Like, is this a good move? Is she? Do we see her elevating to a level of heeldom that we've never seen before in the women's division, or especially in Becky's career? But where is this going? What can we expect from it? Joel, what you think about the whole Becky heel turn? Does this have the opportunity to really work? Really work?
That's a good question. I actually really like the heel turn, and it's funny because this past Raw when she did her promo, I was like, wait, is Becky Lynch doing John Cena's gimmick better than John Cena? And I was like, is this what's happening right now? And honestly, she kind of is. Like, she made incredible points instead of like, see, the whole John Cena thing is not believable because he was cheered for so long, and now all of a sudden he's saying that he never liked the fans. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, it really doesn't make sense. I feel like they didn't think that through at all, but whatever. I think this actually does have a lot of legs, and I don't think has to do so much with what she accomplishes, but she has gotten Lyra over more than she has been in the span of like a month. That match, the match they had at Backlash, I think was match of the night, in my opinion. They had a really good back and forth match. It looked like a fight. Like, Lyra looked like she got beat up after that match. Like, her hair was all over the place. I think she might have had like a little bit of blood too, like from her nose coming. Like, that was a legit fight. I believe Becky Lynch a lot more as a heel as well than a face for some reason. I feel like her babyface run was kind of getting a little stale. Like, she was the man for so long, right? Like, that was her character for so long. So I kind of believe her more as a heel now because it makes sense. Like, she kind of put the whole division on her back when she became the man, right? And then people started calling her Becky Hogan online and all this stuff. So, like, I feel like she got more of that backlash than the fake backlash that Cena's pretending he got. Because the thing with Cena is Cena started losing for like 7 years before he came back, and now all of a sudden he's like, so people weren't really thinking about Cena as like that super Cena anymore. But for Becky, people were already calling her Becky Hogan and saying like she beats everybody that she faces and she always wins her feuds and all this stuff. So this is a perfect thing. And the fact that she actually ended up losing to Lyra, but still she still got her shit in at the end of it. It's like, okay, this feud is still going to keep going. I like where this feud is going. And I also like that she's keeping Bayley in it, even though Bayley hasn't been seen around. She's keeping Bayley in the story as well. So I'm digging the Becky Lynch heel turn so far. I don't know where we're gonna go with it, but so far I'm gonna give it like a solid B+ as to like where it is in the story. Like, I'm digging it. It's kind of one of the few things I'm actually looking forward to seeing every week from Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
How about you, Lou?
Yeah, and the fact that Joel just said that that's one of the few things that he's looking forward to on Raw, that means that she's doing her job very effectively. So I think this was much needed for Becky Lynch's character. This is an opportunity for her to be a super money drawing heel along the lines of Roman Reigns, if they book this well enough, because she's done a great job getting Lyra Valkyria over, like Joel said, in the past month, because prior to this road to WrestleMania, I cared nothing for Lyra. But now, after this feud with Becky, Lyra's cutting great promos, and who's to say that she's not being directly coached by Becky Lynch backstage? You know what I'm saying? Because that's one of the reasons why Becky is there, right? She's a veteran presence to put the young gals over. Yeah. So Becky, she's like on the precipice of firing on all cylinders right now. It was a great promo on Raw, and I was like, oh shit, like I haven't seen a woman's promo like this in a long time, where like she's pretty much spitting straight facts. And when there's that element of realism, it just makes it all the more believable that, like, all right, I want to see you get your face bashed in, but you have this element of cool to you, you know? And if she goes on not necessarily an undefeated streak, but if she goes on like this really dominant run for the remainder of the year, where let's just say she wins the Intercontinental title and has that long reign and just keeps just running roughshod over the women's division, by the time we get to WrestleMania next year, she could very well be the person who if we have another baby face, like that's money. Like she can be the money heel female in the company. So far so good.
Listen, man, you know how I've been feeling about Becky. Becky has never been high on my list. But I will say I'm a lot more intrigued by this Becky than I have about a lot of other Beckys. So I'm with you guys. I'm not gonna grade it yet. I gotta see a little more. I need a little more. But thank God for Becky, because if it wasn't for Becky, Lyra would probably be on that list of superstars we ain't seeing no more. Because to tell you the truth,
Yeah.
she's a little bland. She just needed that spark of someone to be like her perfect muse, the person she can like spar with back and forth and know what they're doing. She's dealing with a professional of all heights with Becky. Becky could get you in, she could get you out, she'd make you look good, all that good stuff. So big up to Becky for that, because Lyra, a lot of people were saying it all over the wrestling podcast world. They can't connect with her. She's a little bland. They're not impressed. She's kind of corny. The gimmick is whack. All this stuff. So maybe this Becky thing and Lyra goes on a little more. Maybe we get a run. Maybe we run this back another match. Who knows? Yeah. But yeah, I think the purpose of this match was to establish Lyra as like a baby. Like this is we can cheer for her because she also can go in the ring. She's cool, whatever. Right. And Becky solidified that by the match they had at Backlash. But this also could have been the thing that catapults Becky into monster heel. If they're going to do this with Becky, they got to go all in. Like Becky needs to be she needs to beat people up, and she needs to be like a bad, don't want to mess with her, ripping signs out of kids' hands. Like that's what we need from Becky. So I'm curious. I'm intrigued. Joel, you gave her the B. You gave her the B. What? B plus?
Yeah.
B plus right now.
I'm digging.
I'm curious. I'm gonna give it a couple more weeks. I gotta see what they're gonna. I gotta see the continuation with this. It's gotta be spot on. So I'm with y'all. I just can't grade it right now. Just can't grade it.
Yeah, that's fine because it's still early.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll see.
They
But I have
completely missed the landing. So B plus for now. For me.
Yeah. I have hope.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep hope alive with Becky. I'm gonna keep hope alive. Fellas, did we have anything else? Was there anything else we wanted to talk about? In terms of professional wrestling?
Do we care at all about John Cena versus Randy? Is it even worth talking about?
Yeah. Speaking of John Cena, since you brought that up, Joel. Speaking of John Cena, just real quick. I'm over it. I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him ever again. This heel turn has been nothing short of massively disappointing. I am so annoyed. I have no words. I can't even give you anything right now because I'm just so mad. I'm mad that we're wasting our time with this. I'm mad that there's been no final boss to solidify anything. I'm mad that it's just it's not entertaining. There's nothing. Like I don't know. Like I was expecting Hogan level heel. Like, and we just got like lukewarm. Let's just throw something out there, see if it sticks, and if it doesn't, oh well, who cares? Like it's not entertaining, and these one-off matches don't mean anything. Like I don't want to see his whole run be one-offs. Like next. Like that's all it's going to be till December. Like I'm sorry, I don't want to see. I'm over John Cena. I've never been high on John Cena. John Cena doesn't crack my top 50 right now. He don't crack. You know who cracks the top 50? Honky Tonk Man cracks the top 50. Now that tells you something right there, right? Honky Tonk Man is in the top 50. John Cena, he got bumped to 51. Got bumped to 51.
Damn.
No, I can't put Honky Tonk. Honky Tonk is not in the top 50. I'm just joking. But John is not in the top 50. But Honky Tonk ain't either. But listen, fellas, do y'all even care anymore? Is it just me? Am I too sensitive? Am I the fan that's sitting back and I'm taking it too seriously? Like, I wish they gave us something epic. This has not been epic. I'm sorry. It's just been something they just throw on TV every week.
Yeah, I'm not gonna spend too much of my breath talking about the same shit with John Cena, but yeah, it ain't hitting. I don't care for it. I expected more.
Yeah, man.
And that's that. Plain and simple. There's really nothing to harp on here. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Not much else needs to be said. The match with Randy it is what it was. Like, I don't know. Like, I think this is how it's all going to be. Like, we're going to get a bunch of ref bumps and a bunch of Cena hitting people with the title. And I guess this is the run that we're getting. It kind of feels like to me, like they were like, okay, John Cena, you're retiring. And the one thing people always said about you is that you never turned heel. So let's do it. And that's it. Like, that was what they wrote on the board, and that's it. Like, they didn't have any plans after. It's like, we're going to turn you heel because that's the one thing everyone's always said you've never done. And in order to solidify you as the GOAT, we need to show you as a heel to prove that you could do it. And right now he's proving that he can't do it. So maybe that's why Vince never turned him heel, because this shit's trash. Straight up. Straight up. And some people might be enjoying it. Cool, whatever. It's not for me. And I'm happy to admit it's not for me.
It's trash. And on that note, y'all, speaking of what was not trash, just shouting out AEW Breach Break for Dynamite. Breach Break was solid. I'm actually probably going to make Collision appointment viewing. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I'm probably going to try to watch Collision. Maybe not live, but I'm definitely going to watch it that night, because Beach Break Dynamite was dope. It was a very solid show for AEW. Chicago was wired. Nice crowd, looked pretty full. And Swerve, of course, megastar. Hurt Syndicate. You had the whole show was starlined. I mean, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, MJF. I mean, they put on a show.
Shout out to Ricochet, who's literally becoming the best heel in all of wrestling.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? Who the hell would have thought a couple of months ago, when he was just in catering in WWE or whatever the hell he was doing? Who would have thought that this guy could one day become, literally, in my opinion, one of the best heels in the whole business right now? Yeah. This guy literally had a program with Zach Gowen, of all people.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
And the crazy thing is, I'm guessing you didn't watch Collision last week, but he literally stole that leg off of the man's.
I saw the clips.
He stole that leg.
This is wild.
In kayfabe, he held that leg from from Thursday, because Collision was live last week. From Thursday all the way to Wednesday, he left this man walking on crutches. Like, yo, shout out to Ricochet. He has gone to a whole nother level of character. Who would have thought that he even had this in him? Like, man, what an incredible act. What an incredible steal for TK to give him. Because, like,
I'm glad you brought that up.
And to actually give him the reins to, like, hey, let's try something different. You've done the flippy babyface guy. Let's try something different. And it worked. And it's crazy. It's the simplest thing. He gets heat for being bald. Yeah, like that's crazy. It's like the most simple thing of all time, and he gets heat for being bald, and he plays into it well. It's incredible.
Yeah, I'm digging it. I'm digging Ricochet. I'm digging the golden scissors he brings to the ring for no reason. I love it. And then he's starting to cut people's hair. Listen, Ricochet. You could tell he is having some of the most fun that he's ever had in wrestling, and you could tell that with a lot of people on the AEW roster, that they're having fun with some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And they don't feel so creatively stagnant. Like you could tell it's a, they could probably rein in some people, but for the most part, everyone seems to be they seem to be having fun with what they're doing. And Ricochet even said that it's the most fun he's ever had. Like, he's having fun, and he should. This is, the stuff he's doing is making him even more popular than he's ever been when he was on a bigger brand, on bigger TV, in front of more audiences. Like, he's doing some of the best stuff he's ever done. So I'm glad you brought up Ricochet, because Ricochet definitely watch Ricochet within the next 6 months. I think he gets just better and better, and possibly hold a title. He's definitely going to hold the title at some point. But yeah, y'all, listen, this has been episode 91 of On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. Thank you for joining us for this episode, y'all. Keep it locked in. Keep following us. Keep it on with us, with this movement, trying to grow this brand, y'all. A lot of y'all have been really, really responsive on TikTok, which we appreciate. And keep the conversation going, y'all. Until next time, I'm Kayode, joined by Lewis, the administrator, Joel. Peace.
You have just listened to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, a Scriptly adapted production. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube at On the Mark Wrestling. And email us on onthemarkpodcast@gmail.com.